Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back. We are in Maseches Nazir, Daf Mem Gimel. We're actually starting on Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom of the Amud. Rav Huna told us yesterday that when a Nazir is already tummy, he's touching a mace, and then with his other hand he reaches out and touches another mace. That doesn't give him another penalty. There's no second malchus for that because he's already tummy. However, if it involves tumas oihel, so he finds himself under the same roof as a mace, okay, so he's in the same bias as a mace, then there is double penalty. How? Asks the Gemara, 3 lines from the bottom. So you're telling me, aval tuma v'tuma loy. If another, with one hand, is touching one mace, and while doing so, he reaches out with his second hand and touches another mace, there is no additional penalty because he's not really adding any more tuma to his existing tuma, right? Because he's already tummy. Well then, tuma ubiya nami. Likewise, when it comes to tumas oihel, finding himself in the same oihel as a mace, there as well. Suppose he's touching a mace, he's carrying a mace, and then he walks into an oihel which has another mace. Tuma ubiya nami. Isn't he already tummy on account of the first contact with that first mace? So why do we say there's another Avera, there's another Malchus? Rabbi Yehuda, you're right. That's not the case. Kan bebayis, kan besada. When we say there is no additional Malchus for that second encounter, besada, out in the field, an unroofed area. Right? So he touches one mace, and while he's doing so, he touches another mace. There's no additional layer of tumah. There's no second malchus. When we say that there's another malchus for that second experience, we're speaking bebayis, in a roofed area. So what happened was, he was just a plain person, hadn't been touching any mace, and then walks into a bayis, a room which features a mace inside. So now, Rav Huna tells us we have a second pasuk, which tells us that in addition to the standard malchus for encountering tumah in that home, there's another malchus because of lo yavoy that is specific to entering a place with tumah. So he gets twice malchus, and the reason here is because it happened together. It happened bevas achas. It wasn't sequentially. There was one experience of coming into a place with tumah. So there's that plain encounter with tumah, and then the fact that he's in the same oihel. 2 aspects of this experience generate 2 malchiyos, and that we learn from the 2 psukim. Lo yatama, on account of encountering the tumah, and the fact that it happened in a tumas oihel, that adds additional stringency, additional penalty, a double malchus. So bottom line is, if he was tar and then walks into an oil mace, there are 2 malchiyos. Asks the Gemara, but why? Here as well, it happened sequentially. It didn't happen bivas achas. But bayis nami. Given the ayel yade. Look, first he reached in. A person walks in. First his hand goes in, and then his body. Given the ayel yade, once his hand entered that home, he's dive. It's as though the airspace in that home is full of tumah. So it's as though he touched tumah. So he became tummy. Ki ayel kulei. And then when his body follows, hi tamu, he's already tummy. Because his hand was in the oil mace and became tummy. It's as though he touched the mace, and now his body is following, You can't add another malchus because of, tumas oihel. He's already tamei. Elamar Belazer, you're right. Tzirei fiyadoi, if in fact he would have reached in with his hand first, that gives him that first encounter with Tumah. Mishum Tumah Ika, you're 100% right. In that instance, he is liable for that Tumah. He gets Malchus for becoming Tameh by way of his hand having gone in. Mishum Bialeka, you're right, there is no additional Chiyuv on account of his body entering after that hand entered. Mishum Bialeka, because he's already Tameh. V'tzira if yade, however, we're speaking where v'tzira of kufa, where his hand was actually flush to his body, so it was sort of alongside his waist and did not enter the home before his body. Rather, his whole body entered at once. So his so-called encounter with the tumah, with the airspace, and the fact that he entered the home, find himself under the same roof as the mace, it all happened at the same moment. It happened simultaneously. And here the pasuk says you get twice malchus. Asks Gemara, but when you go in, first your nose enters. It's not like his whole body goes in at once. It's first his nose goes in, and then his body follows. That gives him tumah. So then when his body follows, he's already tummy. Elama Rabbi, you're right. Hichnis Yadai. Or there's a guess a chaytmai. In fact, if his nose did go in first, if he went in, normally, Mishum Tumah Ika, he would be liable because of that Tumah, because his nose came into contact with the tummy air inside the home. Mishum Bialecha, there wouldn't be an additional liability on account of his body entering. We're speaking that he turned his head sideways, so his nose does not precede his body into the home. But if his whole body comes in at once, without any limbs protruding and beating him to it, in that case it's one simultaneous masa tuma obia asyan, the chiyuv for becoming tamei and the chiyuv for entering the home is happening at the same moment, and therefore he gets a double malchus. But still, the kare beresha, still, even if he puts his head sideways, his toes, it must be that his toes beat his body to it. Which encountered the tumah before his body came in. And the Gemara assumes that he's not walking backwards. The Farshim explained there would be no chiyuv for that. It wouldn't be considered coming in. That's not derech bia into a home. So once again, we have the same kasha. How could you give him a double malchus? Elamar Papa, I'll give you an example. How this is possible. He entered the bayis, which has a mace, but he was not yet exposed to the mace. He was enclosed in a sort of chest, a closet, a box. He was protected from the tumas mace. And while in that home, his good friend comes in and cracks open the box and exposes him. He pulls out the floor. So now he's exposed to the tumas mace, in which case it happened suddenly, all at once. The tumah, his encounter with tumah in a manner of bias habayis, in a manner of tumas oil, happened all at once, and on that we give him 2 malchus. I'll give you another example how this is possible. Going to ayel, kishu goises. The Nazir enters a home where a goises is found, a fellow who's hovering, who's in the process of departing the world. So at this early stage, he's not yet a mace, and he's not a metame, and the Nazir is not yet responsible. He's allowed to be there. But then suddenly, while he's in the home, this fellow passes away. His neshama leaves ad Yosef, while the Nazir is there. In this case, it all happens suddenly at once. The tumah, ubiyah, the tumah aspect and the biyah aspect, bahadi adad ka'asyan, happened one at the same time, and therefore we can give him a double malchus for that experience. So bottom line is, if it's sequential, you can't give him another chiyuv, another penalty, because once he's tummy, the additional experience doesn't really add. There's no double malchus. But if he should find himself in a oil hameis out of the blue, then the pasuk tells us there are two chiyuv malchus. Tumas oil with a mace is a more stringent experience and gets him a double malchus. Tan Rabbanon, we have a brisa which makes reference to the pasuk, which this allows a kohen. So we're going to compare kohen to Nazir. There's actually a Gzera Shava later on in Daf Ches that Nazir and kohen are pretty much on the same track, on the same boat. So the pasuk tells us that a kohen should not become tamei lehechaloi. Okay, so lehechaloi, simple meaning lehechaloi is referring to the kohen should not become a cholol, should not defile his kedusha by interacting with a mace, who's incidentally also called a cholol. Right? Cholol is a word used to describe the departed person. So we learn from this pasuk lehechaloi that ad shashayamus, the isser of tumah by a kohen, is only if he actually passed away, as opposed to a fellow who's severely injured or sick. There's no isser at that point for a kohen to interact with him. Rabbi Eimer, he has a different pasuk, which actually is a pasuk by Nazir. But again, we compare the two ideas. Rabbi says like this: the pasuk over there says la'aviv u'le'imoy la'achiv la'choisoi lo yitamalhem b'moisam. So the pasuk by Nazir warns a Nazir from interacting with even a relative who had passed away. Rabbi Eimer b'moisam teaches us that he can't come into contact with a mace, but he can interact achiyamus. Yitama achiyamus. You can interact with him until the point of misa. So if he's not yet mace, it's totally mutter. My binayu. Any difference between Tanakama, who learns from the Chaloi, this is only when he actually dies, and Rebbe, who learns from B'moisam. Amar Rabbi Yechanan, there is no big difference. It's just a question of sourcing the halacha. So according to all Shitas, Tanakama and Rebbe, until he's actually dead, there is no Isser. Not for Kohen nor for Nazir. It's just a question of where to learn it from. Mashma'os Dosh Nikibinayu. The question is where we derive it from this pasuk or from that. Resh Lakish Amar, there is a slight difference. A koises, a fellow who is somewhere in the middle, hovering between life and death. And we know that Roiv Goisesin will eventually die. Ikibinayu, that's the nafkemina. May a kohen or a nazir interact with a goises. So it depends how you learn the halacha. That's the Tanakama. He holds afilu goises. Then, even if this fellow is just a goises, it's usher to touch him, usher to interact with him, because even a goises is called a cholol somewhat, because most goises in alamisa, his neshama is already departing, he's on his way out, so it's usher. However, l'madama b'maisam, according to Rebbe, it needs to be b'maisam, needs to be dead. Achiyamos in goises loy. The isser is only if he's actually mace, but before that, if he's still a goises, it's mutter. According to the Shita that learns from Leichaloi, Haksiv b'maisam, what does he do with the word b'maisam? The extra word, mebayle. It's coming to tell you, look at the Rebbe, the halacha of Rebbe. The Sanya Rebbe tells us that the halachas of Tumah, whether it's the Nazir or the Kohen, it's specific to Tumas mace. But if you have a fellow who's severely tamei because he's a Matzor, because he's a Zav, that's okay. A Nazir can interact with him, and so could a Kohen. That's what we learn from the word b'maisam. Rabbi Amir b'maisam eni metamei, avol metamei, bin gini asam, but he can become tamei by touching a fellow binig asam. When a fellow is in Matzor, he has a nega, ubiziv asam, or a fellow is a Zav. Despite the fact that he's severely tamei, there's no issue of a Nazir or Kohen interacting with them. According to the Shita that learns the halacha from b'maisam, Doesn't he need the B'maisam for this halacha? That a Metzora is mutter, a Zav is mutter, so it's unavailable to teach us that other halacha regarding the Geises. Im Kain Lemakra B'mais. If it's only teaching us one halacha, it would say B'mais. It needs to be dead. But B'maisam, why B'maisam, the extra mem? To teach us the extra halacha Shmamas Minotarti that allows us to learn both halachas from the same pasuk. Which is that it's only an issue when he actually dies, and it's only an issue for Tumas Meis as opposed to Nega and Ziva. According to the Shita that learned the halacha of B'maisam, Haksiv Leichaloi. So B'maisam teaches us that it's only Asr when he's actually Meis, as opposed to a Geises, which is Mutter. But what about the word Leichaloi, which seems to indicate that even if he's partially dead, even if he's a Geises, it's Asr as well? Answers the Gemara, no. He uses that pasuk for something else. The asr is coming for something else. When is there an issue? When is it asr for a nazir or a tamei to become or a kain to become tamei? When he's not yet mechulal. When he's not yet been defiled. When he's not yet tamei. Yatzazeh, as opposed to a fellow who, for some reason, let's say, is already tamei. Once he's already tamei, touching another maze doesn't really add any tuma and malchus. Now let's go back to Tanakama, who already used the word leichaloi for his halacha. How does he know this halacha? That mechulul va'imid is not an issue. It came because if it's only for one halacha, leimakra leichal, we'll just say leichal. My leichaloi, the extra vav, teaches us both halachas, shamas minotarti. So the bottom line is, according to one version of the Gemara, we have enough kamina regarding a goisis. A fellow is not yet mace. He's on the verge. Can a kohen or a nazir come into contact with him? So according to Rish Lakish's approach, we have a machlekes tanaim. According to Tanakama, there is an issue because he's somewhat of a chalal already at this early stage. And the kasha on that is, we have a Mishnah which seems to indicate otherwise. Until he actually passes away, he's not metame. Meisve. Adam einu metame, ela asher teitzi nafshe. A person does not impart tumah, he does not give tumah, until his neshama leaves. Even if he's all wounded and cut up, even if he's at the advanced geises stage, he's not metame. Well, according to Tanakama, who dwelled on the word leichaloi, which seemed to tell us that even a partial chalal, even a geisis, is an issue. Haktani, doesn't this Mishnah say otherwise? The einu metame answer is like this. You're right. Le'inyan tumuye, regarding halachas of tuma, which is actually the context of that Mishnah. That's a Mishnah Maseches Oles, which presents all the all the guidelines for tumas meis. You're right. Le'inyan tumuye adenafke nafshe. Until his nefesh actually departs, he's not going to be metam. He's not really a mace. But when it comes to kohen and chalal, they have to be extra careful. Even a partial mace is asr for them to touch. L'inyan is chulei ha'ischal. Regarding the status of chalal, well, he's already partially chalal. Chalal means vacuum. His nefesh is already on its way out, leaving that vacuum, and would be asr for a kohen or a nazir to associate with. So bottom line is, even if a person is unwell or wounded, lo yaleinu, a nazir and a kohen can interact with him. A geisis, we have perhaps a machlekes, according to Rish Lakish's approach in the Gemara. In either case, only a tumas meis is an issue, not a nega, not a zav. And a mechul v'oimid, once he's already tamei, adding more tumah doesn't really add much penalty, except for the tumah b'chibur, as we had yesterday. So, in one case, it is considered an additional layer of tumah, as we learned yesterday. Continues the Gemara. Amarav Chist, Amarav. Let's discuss the halachos of a kohen, a regular kohen, a kohen hedyot. Although he must not become tamei, but if it's a close relative, like a father, the pasuk says he's allowed to become tamei, and actually he's meant to be Matam himself to take care of his departed father. However, Amar Chizam Arav, this only applies if his father is actually intact. His full body is intact. Nikta Rosh Shalav, but if his father's head was separated, he can't become Tamid to him. My time, why? Amakra. La'aviv, only to his father, the way he was during his lifetime, Bizman Shu Shalom, when he was fully intact. Bizman Shu Chasr, as opposed to if he's missing some. So it only works when he's Shalom, as opposed to Chasr. Amali Rav Huna. Elamiyata, if that's the case. What about Ka'azal? If his father was traveling Bepakta in a valley, Duch Arvais, this certain valley, where there were many robbers present. It was quite a dangerous place. And in fact, robbers removed his head, and his father needs to be buried. Hachanami here as well, the loy letamili, a son, a kohen, cannot tend to his father's needs. Who's going to take care of him? He says, sure, in that case, it's different. Mace mitzvah ka'amras. Well, you're referring to a mace. Who's a mace mitzvah? Unattended mace. Of course, that's a whole different story. I wasn't talking about a mace mitzvah. I was talking about the standard halacha that a kohen addresses his close relatives' burial needs. In that case, we say only bizman shu shalim when he's fully intact. But if he's desperate, if it's an unattended mess, nobody to take care of him, of course, that's a whole different story. Then the heter is because of mace mitzvah. It doesn't have to fit the same, criteria as the halacha of krovim. Look, even if it's a total stranger, he's obligated to tend to his kvura. Certainly if it's his father, of course it's mutter. What do you mean, says the Gemara? Why are you labeling this a meis mitzvah? By meis mitzvah? Vatanya. You know what's a meis mitzvah? Ezu meis mitzvah. The answer is kol she'en like krovim. There's nobody interested in burying him. For instance, Kairi, theoretically, if that mace would have the ability to call out, and he would elicit a response, people would come and help him. Ain't a mace mitzvah? That's not going to mace mitzvah. Mace mitzvah means an abandoned mace. So here, when it's his father, it's not a mace mitzvah. You know why? Well, it's bro, the father here has a son. Pick up the phone and call a chevra kadisha, come take care of him. Right? So that's not called a mace mitzvah. So instead of that son, a kohen, becoming tummy, you should go hire some people, take care of him. The answer is given the ka'azal b'urcha, since he's on the road here. There's nobody there to help. Kimi she'en lekavrim dami, we treat it as though there is nobody there, and he has a din of a mace mitzvah, and the son, in fact, can bury him, even in this type of situation. Meisve, here comes a kasha. So Rav is telling us that if the father's body is not shalem, the son cannot take care of it unless it's a meis mitzvah. Meisve. The Brisa says that a kohen is meant to take care of his close relatives. Lo yitama. So the pasuk is speaking about his sister, his unmarried sister. Lo yitama. He should be metami to take care of her. Right? So you should bury her. And we learn from the word lo hu metami. You can only metami to her. You can only take care of her burial when she's intact, when she's full. A guf shalom. But he cannot become tummy to take care of her limbs. Suppose it's not a guf shalom. Why? Because even regarding his father, who's the closest to him, he's not allowed to become tummy to him if it's not there full. He can't make himself tummy to bury an aver that was removed during his father's lifetime. Right? So bottom line is, if that applies to his father, certainly applies to his sister. Aval, says the Brisa, but you should know there's an exception to the rule. Machzeru al etzem kesa'ira. Suppose it already happened. He saw his father, he went and took care of him. It turns out that it was missing a bone the size of a barley. Okay? A small a little bone chip was missing from his father's goof. He can go back, pick up that bone and bury it. So what do we see from this brisa? That even if his father's goof is not shalem, he can become tummy to it. My machzeru alatzam kesayra. What exactly are we speaking about? That he's going and he's burying the etzem kesayra. Lav lemimra. Apparently we're speaking the michzer porta. That the goof was missing something. That bone was not there, and he was able to be kaver him, become tummy to him. So apparently, it's mutter, even if it's not a goof shalom. So apparently, only if the goof was taken apart mechayim, it's a problem. But achar misa, in this case, it's fine. Says the Gemara, you're right, but it's a different shita. That's a special shita. Shita is Rabbi Yehuda who says lechatchila, it's only mutter when it's a goof shalom, but b'diavad, once it's already done, go ahead and complete the gvura. Special shita of Rabbi Yehuda. Whereas Rav was in line with Shittas Rabbanon, who says that only if it's a guf shalom, lo'aviv bizman shu shalom, v'loy bizman shu chas. Says the Gemara, lo yahi Rabbi Yehuda, that's Shittas Rabbi Yehuda, the son of Rabbi Yehuda Imer. And the pasuk says by the sister, lo yitama, lo mitamei ve'enoi mitamei le'varei. He's only allowed to become tummy to his sister once she's intact, but not to an aver. Because even by his father, he's not allowed to do that. But if it so happens that he was already kaver his father, he became tummy to his father, discovers that he was missing an aver, he can go back and complete the kfura. So this is Shittas Rabbi Yehuda, and Rav was going with Shittas Rabbanon. So bottom line is, the way Tosfos learns the Gemara, everybody agrees lechatchila, unless it's a guf shalom, don't get involved. Rabbi Yehuda is adding that b'diavad, once he's already involved, having not realized that it was missing, he can go back and finish it up. Continues the Gemara. We have another kash. So we're telling the Kayin and the Nazir that unless it's a guf shalom, don't become tamei. Vatanya, we have a brisa quoted by Rav Kahana, who's quoting a brisa of Rav Lezer ben Yaakov that was taught in the Beis Medrash of Rav Lezer ben Yaakov. Again, focusing on that same pasuk by the sister, lo yitama. We learn lo mitamei ve'inu mitamei le'varim. You can only become tamei to a sister when it's a guf shalom, but not a varim. So it has to be a complete mace, prat, as opposed to the following partial situations, the kazayis of nameis, only a part mace, a kazayis of a mace, or kazayis netzel, a sheer kazayis of some type of liquefied mace, umloy tarved rekev, or a large spoonful of decomposed mace. Okay, so all these situations do not justify tumah. It's not a guf shalom. Perhaps I'll stretch it a bit further. Even if it's a significant portion of the mace, perhaps the kohen or the nazir should not become tummy l'shidra, even if it's a full spine, is a full skull, or it's most of her structure in terms of her bones, or most of the bones of the mace. So if we have say 125 Eivarim, right, which is most of 248, so Roiv Binyan are considered significant, portions, significant components of a person. So Roiv of a structure. The Gemara says Shnei Rachayim B'Shoik, two thighs and 1 foot. So that would be considered Roiv Binyan of a person. Those limbs constitute most of his structure, or most of his bones. In any case, significant portions of the mace, can he become tummy to them? The answer is yes, because we have an extra expression on the pasuk. The pasuk says, "Emor el kahanim b'nei Aaron." Go tell them, the halachas of tumah, And the pasuk adds ve'amarta aleim, ksiv ve'amarta aleim, which is an extra expression. It's coming to allow this type of interaction. The pasuk here is including this type of situation if it's a significant portion of the mace, Rav Binyan, etc., etc. It justifies tumah. Yochel, perhaps, lo yitama, a kohen would not be able to become tamei if it's another relative. Maybe it's only for a sister, not for another relative. Lochel lo yitama l'shidra, a spine, l'goylas, a skull, Rav Binyamin, shalach of other close relatives. Amras, the answer is no. We're going to compare everything to the sister. Ma'achaysa, just like by his sister passed away. Miuchedes. How is it defined? Shagufa tali boy. Her goof is tali in him, meaning she's dependent upon him for his kvura, for him taking care of her kvura. Umitame, and this justifies his becoming tamei l'shidra, or l'gilgailis, or l'rab binyana, and therefore he's allowed to address all those aspects of her goof. Av koil, likewise all other close relatives. We're talking about the 7 closest relatives. Since they all fit this criteria, shagufay tolu boy, since that relative is also dependent upon this kohen for burial, this justifies him becoming tamei metame l'shidra l'gloilis l'roi binyanai. So once again, we see clearly from this brisa, it doesn't need to be a guf shalom. That's a kasha on Rav. Answers the Gemara the same teretz. Ahinami, that brisa as well is reflective of Shitas Rabbi Yehuda, who takes a more lenient approach to the whole idea, and he says even if it's Rav Binyan, it works. As opposed to Rav, who took a more stringent approach. Rav the Amar Ki Haitana, Rav was following a different Tana, the Sani, who says it needs to be a guf shalom completely, even regarding one's father. Maasa shemes aviv shor b'tzadik. There was a story where Rabbi Yitzchak's father passes away, Beginzik, in this town of Ginzik. Ubo v'dihu lachash alishanim. And they came and told Rabbi Yitzchak that his father passed away, and it was already 3 years later, and he was buried somewhere else, and they wanted to transfer him to the family plot. Uba v'shalas Rabbi Shua ben Elisha v'dalas kenim she'imoy, and Rabbi Yitzchak went to Eska Shaili, asked Rabbi Shua and the 4 elders that were with him, can I transfer my father in this state? And Rabbi Yitzchak was, of course, a kohen. And they told him no. V'omer, they said, N-O. The pasuk allows tumah la'aviv, which means bizman shu shalom when he's fully intact. V'loy bizman shu chas, as opposed to when he's not fully intact, in which case it's aser. The Gemara is assuming that there was still a significant portion of the guf intact, and still it was aser. Apparently, chachamim machmer even in this case. So what do we learn today? Both Nazir and Kohen may not become tamei unless it's a meis mitzvah, unless it's a close relative, one of the shiva krovim. Once he's tamei and he touches tumah again, typically that's not going to be meis of anything. It's not going to give him another malchus. We have a chiddush from yesterday's sugya, according to Rav Huna, entering a oyel hameis gets him a double malchus. How does it happen? Without first becoming tamei through maga. The Gemara gave us some examples. He went in when this person was still a geisis, and then he passed away. Or he went in protected inside a box, and a fellow uncovered and this exposed him to the tumah. He gets a double malchus. Tumah's mace is only when he's actually mace. According to one approach in the Gemara, even a geisis would be considered a problem for a kohen and nazir to touch. The whole problem is only for Tumah's mace, not for nega, not for ziva. And then we have a chiddush presented by Rav that when we say la'aviv, it's only bizman shu shalim. Likewise by la'choise, la bizman shu shalim. But if it's not intact, it's not the way it was mechayim, there would be no heter for the kohen and nazir to become tamei for these individuals, unless it's a meis mitzvah situation. Now we have Shittas Rabbi Yehuda who says it is a significant element, it's still intact. Rav Binyan, Shidra Gilgoilas. It's considered a rightful tumah. You can become tamei for this purpose. And also we have a chiddush that b'di'evet, once he's involved, discovers there's something missing, he can finish the process. Psuras Teivas, Hatzlacha Rabbah. All the best.